Before we get started, if you haven't watched part 1, I highly recommend doing that first. It covers the background of the story, how I met O500, and the events leading up to everything you're about to see. It'll make this part a lot easier to understand. Also, if you enjoy documentaries like this and want to follow the rest of the series, it would really help me out if you subscribe. There's still a lot of events left to cover, and I appreciate everyone who's taking the time to watch this. With that said, let's continue where we left off. Before we can go any further in this story, you need to know one of the most important people part of this, Asipiter. From my perspective, Asipiter wasn't just another member of the server. He eventually became one of the people I trusted the most and became my friend. While I can't remember the exact day he joined the community, I know he was around by early 2023. On April 29th, 2023, O500's sent me a message. I want to interview Asipiter. At the time, I was one of the administrators, so interviews for new staff members often involved me. After the interview, Asipiter was accepted onto the staff team as a moderator. That was really when I first got to know him. As time went on, Asipiter quickly proved himself. He was reliable, calm, respectful, and someone who genuinely cared about the community. He wasn't the type of person to look for drama. He avoided conflict whenever he could. He always tried to see the best in people. Sometimes I even thought he gave people more benefit of the doubt than they deserve. If I had to describe him back then, I'd say he was one of the most trustworthy people I'd met online. Eventually, Asipiter was promoted to senior moderator. His responsibilities grew. He helped organize events, ran staff meetings, and kept everyone updated on what was happening within the staff team. And he became one of the most respected members of the community. But there was something else everyone noticed. O500 and Asipiter were almost inseparable. Whenever Asipiter joined a voice channel, it felt like O500 would join almost immediately after. They spent an unbelievable amount of time together. Looking back, they were probably in voice calls together thousands of times across the years. They played League of Legends, Teamfight Tactics, Minecraft, and just about any game that you can think of. They even reached Master Rank in TFT Double Up across multiple seasons. Over the years, their friendship even moved beyond Discord. They met in person, visited each other's homes, and from everything I saw, they generally considered each other best friends. To a lot of people in the community, if you saw one of them online, the other probably wasn't far behind. There was one thing I started noticing. Whenever Asipiter wasn't around, O500 talked about him constantly. Sometimes he'd ask where he was. Sometimes he'd ask when he'd be back. Sometimes he'd mention that Asipiter was spending time with other people instead of him. At first, I thought it was harmless. After all, they were just best friends, I thought. But over time, it started feeling like O500 depended on Asipiter being around. Eventually, Asipiter told O500 he needed to spend less time online. He wanted to focus more on his mental health, his personal life, and life outside of Discord. From what I observed, that was difficult for O500. It often felt like he wanted Asipiter online almost every day after that. He constantly invited him to play games, asked when he'd be around, or talked about missing him when he wasn't online. At the time, I didn't think much of it. I figured that's just how close friends acted. I had no idea that Asipiter would soon become the most important person in this entire story. Now that you know who Asipiter was, it's time to introduce the final major person in this story, Rosy. Rosy was a member of the O500's community, and at the time, she was Asipiter's online girlfriend. She wasn't just another member of the server either, she was actually fairly involved in the community. She would regularly welcome new members whenever they joined the server. She also helped O500 grow the community by reaching out to other Discord servers and asking if they would allow advertisement for O500's community. According to O500, he and Rosy knew each other in real life. He told us that they had met at a summer camp in Wisconsin. He also said that they attended the same college and had been friends for quite some time. Another thing I noticed over time was the role Rosy sometimes played whenever drama broke out in the server. If a member involved in the conflict joined a voice call together, I would occasionally see Rosy join that call. Meanwhile, O500 would be in a separate voice call with other members. From my perspective, it appeared that Rosy was listening to those conversations and then relaying what she heard back to O500. Despite all of that, my own relationship with Rosy was surprisingly limited. Unlike O500 and Asipiter, I was never particularly close with her. We weren't messaging every day. We didn't spend time together in private voice calls. Most of my interactions with her happened inside the community server. In fact, if you look at our Discord and direct messages, there are only 2 messages between us. That was our entire private conversation history. The first and only meaningful interaction we had happened in August of 2024. Rosy often joined voice calls, but remained muted. At the time, I had no idea she was a selective mute. From my understanding, selective mutism is an anxiety-related condition, where someone may be physically able to speak but finds it extremely difficult or even impossible to speak in certain situations or around certain people. Back then I didn't know any of that. I assumed she simply chose not to talk. Because of that, I made a joke about her always being muted. Looking back, it was insensitive and I regret saying it. Later that night, O500 messaged me and explained that he had told Rosy what I said and that it had hurt her feelings. As soon as I understood the situation, I reached out and apologized to her. Thankfully, Rosy accepted my apology. After that, I considered the matter resolved and made sure not to joke about it again. About a month later, another interaction stood out to me. I created an alternate Discord account with a fake girl's name as a harmless prank. The idea was simple: join a voice call, stay muted, confuse everyone, then reveal that it was actually me. Before I had even had the chance to reveal myself, O500 figured out it was me. He called me out in front of everyone in the voice chat. Then he accused me of trying to be like Rosy. That genuinely caught me off guard. Rosy wasn't even in the voice call, and honestly that thought never had crossed my mind. After the call, I messaged O500 because I was confused what he had said. I explained that I wasn't pretending to be Rosy. I wasn't even thinking about her when doing it. The entire joke was simply pretending to be a random girl for a few minutes before revealing it was me. O500 later apologized and told me that he had misunderstood my intentions. He had explained that people had apparently imitated Rosy before in the past, and seeing me join muted immediately made him think that was what I was doing. I accepted the apology, and once again I moved on. The last significant interaction involving Rosy happened in December 2025. O500 privately messaged me and simply said, "Breakup happened." At first I wasn't even sure who he meant. After asking, he explained that Asipiter and Rosy had ended their relationship. He also told me that Rosy had left the Discord server. I didn't ask many questions. As far as I knew, it was a private matter between the two of them. And that was really the extent of my relationship with Rosy. We weren't close friends. We weren't enemies. Outside of those few interactions, I knew very little about her personality. But while my interactions with Rosy were minimal, Asipiter's experience with her was completely different. And to understand everything that happened later, you first need to understand their relationship from Asipiter's perspective.